Some movies and specifically some subject matters demand your attention. And the focus of I'm Still Here is exactly that. The film chooses to focus on the Brazilian military dictatorship of the 1970s, something I knew very little about, but it needed to be brought to the wider public's attention. Cruelties, like the ones exhibited by this regime, needed to be subjected to widespread criticism. And in order to have widespread criticism, there needs to be widespread knowledge of these events. Yeah, for that reason, I'm really, really happy I saw this movie, and I'm now more informed and on some of the horrors of the modern world. At its core, the story focuses on a really lovely, large family, the Paivas. So you've got mum and dad, obviously, and then you've got big old group of children. And the dad, sort of a third of the way through the movie, after they've done a really nice exposition of the family dynamic and making you effectively care about the family, only for that world to come tumbling down because dad is taken away by we don't know who. And that's kind of what's scary about it. During the time of this military dictatorship, people went missing. And the dad, this is all a true story. That's what's crazy. And the dad and the family are subjected to this harsh reality. Shortly after the dad's taken away, what's tragic is that the mum and one of the eldest daughters are taken away, and you kind of get a glimpse of what maybe happened to the dad because they're kept in prison, they're kept in solitary confinement, they're told every day to say their names and to try and share the whereabouts and the knowledge they have of this so-called terrorist group, alleged communists, of which the government clearly thought the dad was one. And obviously, the mum and daughter don't know anything. So eventually, they get released. And so now you've got this terrible situation, which, as a family man, it really resonated with me, of the mum trying to shield her family from the reality that the dad's gone. She has no idea when or even if he's coming back, and she has no idea where he's gone to. Now, the kids are not of such a young age where they're not going to be acutely aware that something's awry and that their dad is missing, and they're going to have natural questions. The mum is left in this terrible position where she's been put through a level of physical and emotional torment by being imprisoned, further emotional torment by losing her life partner and her husband, and even further emotional torment by having to, despite everything I've just mentioned, put on the brave face and somehow keep her family unit together. I mean, think about it. How do you explain to your kids, oh, your dad's just gone? It is a horrible situation to be in. And then the continuation of the movie is the mum, despite overwhelming odds, trying to find out, not necessarily fix it, because what can she do in a military dictatorship, but at least try and find out what happened to the dad. If anything, just for the purpose of closure, it's even worse being in limbo and being on the fence of, is he dead? Is he not? Is he gone? Is he coming back? It's that not knowing that can actually eat away at the soul. And the acting to bolster this up is absolutely stellar from everyone. It is no surprise to me that Fernanda Torres is in the running for the Best Actress nomination at the Oscars. No surprise at all. And equally, that this movie's a contender in the Best Picture category as one of the best pictures. Might even be my pick to win. The movie's a perfect balancing act. The moments of familial love and of, their interpersonal relationships are so perfectly balanced and contrasted with the evil that's happening around them. Notably, the wrongful imprisonment and the torture that their family unit has been subjected to, but you also realize is a widespread problem. And that balancing act just creates an emotional roller coaster journey for the movie's 130-minute runtime. And another crowning achievement of the movie is creating that sense of time and place, which it does perfectly. From the color palette used in the movie to seeing some of the shots and some of the horrors and equally some of the beauty through the lens of one of those old 1970s camcorders, to characters' mannerisms, to pop culture references, even the hairstyles. The 70s perfectly captured in this movie, and you feel like you're right there with the characters. Ultimately, though, it's the story and the characters that inhabit this story that are the star attraction of this film. Though I need to add, not in an entertaining way. I just don't think it's right to call this movie entertaining, as it's so tragic. Gripping? Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating? For sure. You're really left kind of curling up into a comfort ball and being on the edge of your seat, completely transfixed but equally terrified about just what the hell is going to happen next. And ultimately, you're wondering just how is the family going to get through this living nightmare? To be honest, the only real thing I could levy a bit of criticism at, midway through Act Two, the pace did start to drag a bit, although it auto corrected in Act Three, but there was a little drag in Act Two, and I can't quite place my finger on if that was down to some of the editing choices they made, if the narrative of the script slowed down a bit. I haven't quite worked that out, needs a rewatch, but there was a clear pacing issue in Act Two, which slowed the movie down unnecessarily. Other than that, I can't really fault this film. And as you can imagine, as you've heard me sing the praises, I'm going big for this movie. My final score for I'm Still Here is a massive 9 out of 10. It's so sad. It is so, so sad. There is literally no happiness and joy to be found in this movie. The fact that these types of horrors affected so many people and families in Brazil. Equally, I guess the fact that not enough people even know about it. It's truly one of the great modern cultural tragedies. So is it a must watch? Yeah. Like, for sure, it's a must watch. It's just flat out an amazing movie, but is there entertainment or even joy to be found? Not so much. The subject matter is just too heavy to lend itself to what you would label entertaining. It's a true story, though, that needed to be told. And it serves as a valiant historical lesson for all of us. And I do hope the leaders of the world nowadays will take some sort of guidance from history and I guess by proxy from this movie and ensure history does not repeat itself in this capacity ever. So yeah, watch it. It will likely be a contender for movie of the year, at least for me, but certainly I imagine for many people. But it's heavy. You've been warned. So those are my final thoughts on I'm Still Here. As always, let me know if you're planning on seeing it or if I've maybe intrigued you enough that it's now on your radar. If you have seen it or once you've seen it, do let me know your thoughts in your comments down below. As always, I'd love to hear from you all. Like the video if you haven't done so already. Please do subscribe to the channel and go and support great movies like this. Long love cinema, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.